Hello, welcome to the channel. This video is about comparative and superlative. Let's get started. Comparative and superlative are very common in using of adjectives. When we are talking about comparatives and superlatives, we are talking about the level of the color yellow that a blue has. For example, if I say a handsome boy, there are two boys here. So one is more handsome than the other. So we are comparing the level of the adjective, the color yellow they have. And today, we are talking more about comparative. Let's take a look. Comparative and superlative. Now, these units we will talk about the introduction of comparative and how to use comparative adjectives. And how do we form comparative adjectives as well? For one syllable adjectives, with adjectives of 3 or more syllables, and irregular comparative forms. And also adjectives with 2 syllables, and other 2 syllables adjectives. Some common mistakes, as well as some hints. So, what time do we use comparative and what time do we use superlatives? For comparing two different blue, and we want to find if any one of them have a higher level of a color yellow than the other, then we use comparative. Let's take a look. Introductions. Look at some special patterns with comparative and superlative adjectives. Comparing two people or things, we use comparative adjectives. Compare 3 or more people or things, we use superlative adjectives. We can also use less and as something as to compare things and people. Comparative adjectives. We use comparative adjectives to talk about or comparing two things or two people. Let's take a look into the details. We use a comparative adjectives plus than to compare two things or people. Example, Hong Kong is smaller than Tokyo. Smaller than is the comparative adjectives plus than. Tokyo is cleaner than Hong Kong. Cleaner. Comparative adjectives plus than to compare Tokyo and Hong Kong. Sometimes we don't even mention both things that we are comparing. In this sentence, we use comparative adjectives without than. For example, it is sunnier today. I feel better now. This is tastier. But it's not exactly the dimension, but just the things that we are mentions are by understanding we know it already. For example, sunnier today, which is talking about the weather, comparing for today and previous time. I feel better now, also comparing the time I feel now and the previous time. It is tastier, is talking about the things I taste now and the things I taste before. Then how do we form a comparative adjectives? And there are 3 things that we have to mention. 1 syllable adjectives and 3 syllables adjectives, as well as 2 syllables adjectives. Let's take a look. Most 1 syllable adjectives. 1 syllable adjectives and adjectives ending in y, we just added er. For example, fast become faster, slow become slower, crazy become crazier. And sometimes the spelling changes a little. And how about adjectives of 3 or more syllables? Adjectives of 3 or more syllables, we form a comparative by putting more expensive, more intelligent, more sensible. Expensive 3 syllable. Intelligent 4 syllable. And sensible 3 syllable. And there are some irregular comparative forms. A few adjectives have irregular comparative forms. Bad become worse. Far become further and further. Good become better. Little become less. Many or much become more. Then how about adjectives with two syllables? Adjectives with two syllables have more different variations. Let's take a look. With two syllables adjectives ending in er, le, or ow, we usually add an er. For example, clever become cleverer, able become abler, shallow become shallower. But adjectives ending in ad, ful, ing, or re, we use more annoyed, more harmful, more pleasant, more obscure. Other two syllables adjective, and for some mentioned above, it is possible to use either a comparative adjective or a more plus adjective. Some common mistakes. We never use the word more together with a comparative adjective better. We don't say more better. We say it's better or it's much better. There are some hints about the word old. The adjective old have two different comparative forms. One is older, one is elder. How to use these two comparative forms? Let's take a look. Old has two comparative forms, older and elder. Elder is an irregular comparative form. It's used only for people. For example, my elder brother, her elder sister. We can't use them with elder. We can't say he's elder than me. Instead, we say he's older than me. Very nice. That's all for today. Like this video and subscribe our channel. See you next time. Goodbye.